Hey there friends, it's mid-June and the garden is bursting with life. Tomatoes are growing tall, cucumbers are climbing, and peppers, well, most of them are loving the heat. I'm running a garlic timing experiment that's already showing major differences. Plus, we're talking pest control, pruning tricks, and a few surprises I came back to after vacation. This one is packed. Before we start, hit that like button if you've been here before, and if you're new, subscribe. We bring new videos and insight each week. So, let's get into it. Tomatoes. I started these tomatoes in late March in 6-cell trays. Once they outgrew those, I potted them up into 4-inch containers and then moved them outside after the last frost. Last week, I staked the central leaders to keep the plants growing upright. This helps prevent chaos later in the season. Let's quickly talk about pruning. There are two main types of tomatoes, determinate and indeterminate. Determinate tomatoes grow to a set height and produce most of their fruit all at once. Indeterminate varieties keep growing and produce all season. Typically, you don't prune suckers from determinate types because each sucker can produce fruit. But I'm pruning mine anyway. Why? Because once the suckers take over, the plants get out of control and I start losing tomatoes hidden deep in the tangle. I like neat, manageable plants. Even if I get less tomatoes, I'm okay with the calm. I'm growing a few varieties this year, each with a job of its own in the kitchen. Roma tomatoes, those are for sauces and roasting. There's cherry tomatoes for snacking and salads. And then we have Cherokee purple for their color and complex flavor. And a classic red slicer for sandwiches and fresh eating. They're all maturing at different rates, which I actually like. It stretches out the harvest. Right before I left for Gettysburg, Pennsylvania last week, I noticed an aphid infestation on the tomatoes. And that's rare for me. I've had aphids in the garden before, but never on tomatoes. I hit them with mild soap spray and manually removed clusters of the things. I also spread diatomaceous earth around the base of the plant. And this is because ants were protecting the aphids, believe it or not, in exchange for their sugary secretions. Disgusting. And that's called honeydew. The DE is made of microscopic shells that cut up crawling insects like tiny shards of glass. And in this case, it worked. But as you can see later, my potatoes weren't so lucky. Speaking of vines, let's talk about the cucumbers. They had a bit of a slow start this year, but things are looking up. These cucumbers were started just like the tomatoes, but I held off planting them outside until the nights stayed reliably above 50 degrees. In hindsight, I should have waited another week, maybe two. Growth stalled at first, but thankfully, they've bounced back and are racing up their trellis. If you'll call a rope a trellis. At this stage, I remove all of the suckers and early flowers, and that's because I want the plant to focus on growing leaves and vines, foliage, not fruit. And once they've filled out, I'll let the flowers go on and start actual cucumbers. Just a few feet away, I've got the peppers, and while most of them are cruising, one's giving me trouble. But before we get into it, there's a quick break, and that times well with my dog backing, so we'll be back in just a second. Before we get back into it, I need to say a huge thank you to our channel member, Jerry D. Your support means a lot and helps keep these updates coming each week. They're a lot of work. And if you're enjoying the videos and want to go deeper with us, consider becoming a member yourself. It's a great way to support the channel, and members will be the first to get exclusive seed giveaways and behind the scenes update, especially with the sweet potato slips. You'll find in a later video that those have been quite a challenge. Unsuspected pests got to them, and unfortunately we're not going to have a huge ton of them, but back to peppers. These peppers were started in 6-cell trays and potted up into 4-inch containers, just like the tomatoes. Like the cucumbers, I waited until nighttime temps were consistently in the 50s before planting them out. Tomatoes can always handle just a little bit cooler temperatures than peppers and cucumbers, and they're looking great, except for this one right here. It's showing signs of nitrogen deficiency, and I think I know why. It's planted right next to a mature bok choy. That's likely hogging the nutrients. I've already given the peppers some bat guano, and now I'm planning to harvest that bok choy to give the pepper more breathing room. And now here's a fun update. Back in April, I had zero interest in growing super hot peppers. But a few weeks ago, I had a change of heart. I ordered a few of the hottest varieties I could find, just barely in time to get a late start. I'm planning to cross them all together and see what kind of heat and flavor combinations that I can come up with. I've got the following if you're interested: chocolate 7-pot, chocolate fatale, and 7-pot primo, all very hot varieties, some of the hottest in the world. They came from different seed sources and arrived at different times, so I sowed each as soon as it showed up. The chocolate 7-pot was first to arrive, and that was from rare seeds. And they've already started sprouting. Right now, they're in 16-cell trays under full spectrum LED grow light. I'll start transitioning them to sunlight this week to harden them off and get them ready for the intense sunlight. From heat to bulbs, let's check in on the garlic beds, where I've been running a timing experiment, and I think you'll find this interesting. So the timing experiment is to find out exactly when the best planting window is for garlic in at least my zone, and that's 6B. It could be the same for yours as well. That's one fall planted garlic, sown in early November or October. There's early spring garlic, planted as soon as the ground thaws. And then the third one is a May planted garlic. I saw this trending online somewhere, to see what you'll get. Now let's start with the fall planting. These are close to harvest now. The leaves are yellowing at the tips and growing towards the center, and the scapes were just removed on most of them. I saved one of them to show you. And I removed the scapes to push more energy into the bulb growth, not the scape growth. So these were homegrown cloves, and even though they didn't emerge until March, they're still the best performing garlic in the garden. And that said, I'll be planting even earlier this fall, in October, because I like to see the garlic sprout before it goes dormant over the winter. I feel like it gives the plant a little bit of head start. This other bed was planted in early spring, and it's been underwhelming. It definitely needs some cleanup. The plants are smaller and less vigorous. Finally, this soft neck garlic was planted in May using a clove I grabbed from the grocery store. It's growing, but the results are about what you'd expect from planting so late in the season. Not terrible, but definitely behind the others. I'm curious to see what we get when they start maturing, the bulbs, that is. All right, that's it for this round. Tomatoes are staked, cucumbers are climbing, peppers are waking up, and garlic is nearly ready to pull. But we're just getting started. In the next video, which we'll release in a couple of days, we'll look at succession plantings, seed saving, and a strange little surprise I found while sowing kohlrabi. You don't want to miss it.